Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Coffee here, and today we are doing a whip and chat. Whip stands for work in progress. So get out whatever that is for you. Work along with me as I tell you some stories from the coffee house shenanigans. Now I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. We had a good weekend here at the coffee house, and we're gonna talk about it. First things first, how you doing? You doing good? Hopefully you are doing well when you're watching this. So everybody's doing good here in the coffee house. So the summer is wearing me out. I didn't realize how exhausting summer could be, and it's mostly because of having to essentially entertain the kids. Mr. Coffee, of course, he's at work. Like, you know, unfortunately for adults, we don't get summer vacation where we can get 3 months off to, you know, do whatever. So he's been working. And then when he isn't working, we've been trying to do stuff with the kids, like watch movies and stuff. We had plans this weekend, but they kind of got canceled. Our sitter canceled kind of at the last minute. She had something come up and she couldn't come over and watch the kids. And I didn't want to leave them here by themselves. Technically, Orion is old enough to watch them for the length of time that we would have been gone. But I know how Maggie could be, and she was already throwing a fit. And so we had decided we were just going to reschedule, which is fine because it happens. I mean, it's not like, you know, waiting a little bit longer is going to do anything. So I was just like, you know, we can go another time. So we ended up doing like a late night date night where we got some food and we watched a TV show or something that Mr. Coffee put on. I wasn't paying attention to it, to be honest. I have no interest in TV. But he wanted us to watch something and I was like, okay. So, he turned on something and then passed out, and then I just started cross-stitching. But we did get to talk and have, you know, some alone time before then. So it was still nice. It was still nice. The main reason we were supposed to go out was because I started getting stuff from this place called Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is a subscription clothing company. And essentially you can get a subscription and they'll send you, like, you answer a bunch of questions and then they'll send you some clothes, and if you like them, you'll keep them and just pay for the amount that it, you know, costs to have the clothes. Or if you don't like them, you can send them back at no cost to you. Like, I think it's like $20 for the stylist that picked out your clothes or something. Like, you still got to pay them, of course. So I had gotten my first Stitch Fix box on the recommendation of one of my other friends from Twitch, and I really liked some of the items in the box, so I decided just to keep the entire box. And it had a really pretty dress in it, and I don't typically wear dresses. I know, hard to believe, right? I don't typically wear dresses, so the fact that it had a dress in it, sorry. The fact that it had a dress in it, I was like, we should go out for, or Mr. Coffee was like, we should go out for dinner. And I was like, yay, date night. So, I was just showing you that you don't necessarily have to, you can, essentially, with the release papers, you can fold them the other way and it'll unfold them for you. So we're opening up a new section here, and I have some number 2s stuck inside my drill from the last time I diamond painting, which, as you can see, I haven't touched my diamond painting since the last whip and chat. No, don't worry, I haven't lost my mojo for diamond painting. I've just been obsessed with cross-stitching right now. I don't know why. I have known about cross-stitching for a very long time. I learned how to cross-stitch when I was like 15. But I was never interested in it. Every time I would try to do it, I would get really bored. And so now all of a sudden, we'll talk about it later. Now all of a sudden, I'm all about it. So I don't know. It's just, I guess, a mood. Anyways, so we ended up having to cancel our date, which was fine. The kids didn't seem to mind too much. We weren't going to tell them till the last minute anyway. The most they knew about it is what they heard from when I was streaming. But yeah, so it's just been rough because I've been trying to keep up with the kids and keep them entertained for the summer. No, it's not my job to entertain them, you know, 24/7. I'm not a television set. But I wanted to make sure that they're not sitting here bored, you know, out of their minds, whatever. We don't typically have, you know, the most money to go out and go on all these adventures all the time, and Mr. Coffee can take, you know, weeks off of work. We have his mom coming in next month, so, like, he's working until then, and then he'll have a week off. And so I'm like, you know, we should do something here at the house, or I should figure out something to do here at the house for the kids, because also I don't want to be driving all over town to take them to like the water park every day, because it'll get old, and I don't want to take them to the skate park every day. They just opened it back up, but I didn't want to take them out there every day and it's hot and having to sit in the sun and get eaten up by mosquitoes. So I was like, let's find some funtivities to do here at the house, right? So I decide to buy them a slip and slide because I'm like, they're kind of old for like an inflatable pool. Let me try a slip and slide. So we get the slip and slide, and I was like, oh snap, we don't have a water hose. So we had to buy a water hose and like the little spigot thing for the water hose. And I was like, this is about to be a good time. Now, if you remember back in the day when you were a kid, I'm pretty sure everybody had a slip and slide. If you don't know what a slip and slide is, it's usually like a piece of vinyl or like plastic that you put down and you slide on like from one side to the other. Apparently it's great fun. And so I decided we were going to get one for the kids. Now, we don't have a big yard for the slip and slide, but I was like, that's okay, because we have enough of a yard that we can have a slip and slide in it, and it's something that's easy to clean up, and it's not like a pool where I have to dump out a bunch of water and, you know, all this extra crap. No. So I was like, all right, bet. So we get the slip and slide, and then I get the hose and the spigot thing to spray the water, and I'm like, okay, so we're gonna do the slip and slide thing. I had just gotten the kids new bathing suits. The bathing suit that I bought myself last year apparently now is way too big, and I was like, whoa. And by way too big, I mean like it literally is sagging, and I'm just like, I literally just bought this last year. What the hell? And I'm mad too, because it was a super cute bathing suit, had like the little crisscross on the side for the tie, so you can see like my rib tattoo and everything. I was super excited about it, and I buy one pieces. I don't do the two piece anymore. After I had kids, for some reason, I was like, yep, back in the one piece. The sad part is, no, it's not what you're thinking. I don't have any stretch marks from having my kids. Cocoa butter is your best friend when you're pregnant. So I just like being covered up. I don't like having all my knobbly bits hanging out. So I was just like, yeah, we're just gonna put it all into this like super cute red bathing suit. But now the red bathing suit doesn't fit, and they don't have another one like it at Walmart where I got it. So I was like, God dang it. So I had to get another one. Sorry about that. My phone is going to ding whenever there's notifications. So I was like, okay. So I got everybody new the bathing suits, and I was like, we're going to do slip and sliding, y'all. So I pull out slip and slide one day after one of my streams, and typically I don't share everything that I do online, just because some of the stuff I like to keep to myself, you know. But this, I had to keep it just for the whip and chat, because it's a whole story. It's a whole story. So we get the slip and slide out. I roll it out, and I'm like, is there like a hose? Like, I don't know anything about slip and slides, okay? Like, I know that whenever I use one, they were already set up, so I didn't have to do anything. Let's go with the dark blue. I didn't have to do anything to it. Like, it was already done for me. So I was just kind of like, you know, am I supposed to put a hose on it? Like, what am I supposed to do? And so, like, I'm, like, looking for the instructions or something, and Orion's like, I think you just put water on it and, you know, let it go. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, this one had, like, one of those fun top things where it would spray water. You had to connect the hose to the fun top thing, and it would cascade water down all over the slip and slide and everything. So we turn it on, leave it on for a few minutes while everybody goes and puts their bathing suits on. We come back. And I had cleared the yard, you know, of course, that area where we put it. I had cleared it of all the sticks and debris and all the fun things in the grass. And I was like, okay, well, mommy's going to go down it first just in case, you know, I missed something. And the kids are like, oh, okay, they're excited. They're ready to go. So I decide, okay, let's go. Let's go. We got this. We got this. I'm going to show my kids how to slip and slide. Because my kids, of course, who doesn't know how to slip and slide? But I thought I was doing something. So I was like, all right, bet, let's go. So I get a running start. I get all the way to the sidewalk, and I run, and then I jump. First things first. The only thing I should be doing jumping-wise is jumping to conclusions, because I should have jumped to the conclusion that I am too old for this shit. And the way I fell, like, I heard something go snap. I was like, ah, fuck. And then as I cascaded down this slippery slope of a water slide, slip and slide, if you will, right as I got towards the end, something hit my butt, like my tailbone. I was like, what the fuck is that? Sorry, I thought I hurt one of the kids. I wanted to make sure they didn't need anything. But like something hit my butt, like my tailbone to be exact, and it hurt like hell. Sharp, piercing pain straight up my butt, and I was like, oh my God. I forgot a small pebble underneath the end of the slip and slide. Luckily, I was the one that found it and not one of the kids. But the way I had to walk around for the rest of the day with an ice pack on my butt because I thought I broke my tailbone on this pebble, and all I can think of was, I don't want to go to the emergency room and have to tell them what happened. This is going to be embarrassing. So, like, I just sat on the couch for the rest of the day with the ice pack under my butt because, yeah, it was very painful. And according to Mr. Coffee, there is a decent-sized bruise back there, and I was like, God dang it. But the kids had fun after that. Like, they were able to go up and down the slip and slide and everything. And I was like, you know what? What would you guys think about getting, like, a small inflatable pool? That seems a lot more safe. And they were like, okay, bet. And so I was like, one, it's gonna save me money from having to take them to the water park every day. I can get a pass to go for like the month, but I honestly don't see us going a whole lot just because half the time they don't feel like leaving the house. So it's like, if I get a pool for the house, essentially they can do the same thing, minus they can't swim around like they would at the water park. But at the water park, there's other kids there that are being buttholes and splashing water in their face and everything else. Whereas at home, they can just sit and relax and, like, you know, enjoy the peace and quiet while they just, you know, marinate, I guess, in the pool. So I was like, okay, let's get this inflatable pool. Now, back when we got the slip and slide, the temperatures were around the 80s and 90s. The moment I get the mother freaking pool, y'all, we've had temperatures no higher than 75 for the last 4 days, okay? I got the pool Thursday or Wednesday last week, I think, and our temperatures have severely dropped. Now, for those wondering, no, we did not get, not that I know of, not that I could tell, we didn't get any of the smoke from the Canadian fires. Usually if it's in Alberta or in further west, which I know Alberta's quite a large place, but if it's usually in that Providence, if it's in that Providence, we will typically get it. But this time we didn't experience any smoke or anything here. Usually we do. Don't get me wrong. Usually we do, but we didn't this time. So when people kept asking me about it at first, I was like, what the hell are y'all talking about? And they're like, is it smoky near you? And I'm like, it's always smoky near me. What do you mean? This happens to us often where we get, like, the smoke from, like, a wildfire from, like, Canada or California or something like that. So, like, the one time it was really bad, it was from Canada right before the kids left for out of school, and the Badlands had caught on fire once, and we got the smoke really bad from that. But typically we will get, like, a little bit of, you know, bad air quality, but it's not anything like stay in the house and stay indoors or anything like that. So typically everybody just kind of goes on about their business and doesn't worry about it because usually it's not a big deal. So when everybody kept asking me about it, I was like, no, what do you mean? What's smoke? And then they explained it to me, so I called and make sure that Minna was okay, and she's like, yeah, it's just really smoky, it just kind of sucks, but that's fine, we're leaving for the beach anyways. And I was like, alright, bet. So I was just like, oh, yeah, we're fine, everybody's fine. So for those folks wondering, we're fine, we didn't really catch any of the smoke from the Canadian fires. If anything, it's just been really cool here. And of course, as usual, we have a nice breeze going, so it's really nice. So, like, opening the windows and stuff to let some fresh air in has been really nice to do. And we've been doing more training with the dogs, with Orion and Maggie with the ferrets and handling them and everything else. And so, like, it's been a busy week. So we didn't go on our date Saturday like we were supposed to. No big deal. Well, then I decided to make and teach Maggie how to make meatballs. So Mr. Coffee I had made some meatballs, or I had Mr. Coffee make spaghetti and meatballs for the kids because they love spaghetti and meatballs. Now all of a sudden Maggie doesn't like meatballs. She used to, like, I don't know, 3 months ago, but now she doesn't. You know, that's how Maggie works. And so I was like, Mommy's going to show you how to make meatballs. And she's like, we're going to make meatballs? So I was like, yeah. So I get out all the stuff to make the meatballs with. And she's like, what is all this? I'm like, this is the stuff you put in meatballs. And she goes, put it, like, we're going to put a hole in the meatball and put it in the meatball? And I'm like, no, you're going to mix it in with the meatball. So I was like, go ahead and wash your hands. And this is another reason why I didn't have nails on for a couple of days last week, was because I had made meatballs. And so I was like, you know, wash your hands because they're going to get dirty. And she's like, how? I'm like, you know how you make mud pies? We're going to do that with the ground beef. And she's like, ew, I don't want to touch it. I'm like, Titsy, you got to touch it. And she's like, I don't want to touch it. Daddy, mommy's making me touch her meat. And Mr. Coffee's sitting in the living room. He's like, hold up, wait, what? Mommy's making me touch her meat. I'm like, she's helping me make meatballs. And he's like, Maggie, when you okay, never mind. And he just goes back to his game. And I'm like, yeah, just don't worry about it. It's fine. So I show her what it entailed to make meatballs because she was not touching it. Orion comes downstairs and he's like, is dinner ready? No, sir. Dinner's not, like, the only time we really see Orion is towards the late part of the evenings and when it's time to walk the dogs now. He's actually been doing really, really good on walking the dogs. So good that he told us that he was ready to start doing it by himself. And I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yes. If I have any issues, I'll just, come straight back to the house, but I should be fine. And I was like, right, okay. So Orion, officially as of Friday. Officially as of Friday, Orion has started walking the dogs by himself. Now, does that mean that mommy is not watching him from the windows? No. Mommy still is very much hawk-eyeing him. Once he gets into the dog park, he's fine. But after he leaves the dog park, the walk around the house is what I'm concerned about because other people will walk past with like their kids and stuff and their dogs. And they necessarily won't move out of the way because they're expecting you to. So, kind of one of those things where I'm watching to make sure that he is feeling comfortable doing it and to make sure that, no problem arises because we did run into an issue with the stupid little kids up the street here who like to monopolize the dog park. When they see us coming with the dogs, they will purposely run into the dog park and then stay in there for as long as they can just to annoy the piss out of us. And we know they're doing it intentionally because they've done it quite a few times to Mr. Coffee where they will see him walking up with the dogs and they'll be walking they'll be at the playground with their dog, and then as soon as they see him walk up, they'll run up and throw their dog into the dog park and then just jump the fence, and then they'll just stand in there and act like they're playing with the dog. Now, of course, Mr. Coffee, not having any patience, gets highly pissed off about this. So they did it again on Friday. And Mr. Coffee was like explaining to Orion that whenever this happens, you just sit back and wait for them to leave. Because, of course, they can't stay in there forever. And the moment they leave, you just run up there and, get into the dog park. And he decided that he was going to go with them in case they try to start crap with Orion. Because, they all have liabilities. So they would say it was Orion's fault. And, of course, with us having big dogs, we're not taking the liability of having somebody say that our dog hurt them unjustifiably. So Mr. Coffee was like, I'm going to go up with you because I don't want them to start any trouble. So they stayed in there for probably like a good 20 minutes before they actually had to leave because they got called into the house. So they left, and then Mr. Coffee went up with Orion, and they sat there, and Mr. Coffee helped him do some dog training and stuff. And Orion, when I asked Orion how he feels about walking the dogs by himself, he says he feels pretty good about it. You could tell he's like building confidence doing it, because you got to think he's holding the power of two very large dogs who could be aggressive if need be. Typically, the dogs are not aggressive at all. My dog has never even so much as growled at another dog without it being warranted. They will bark, but they're dogs. That's how they communicate. Like, it's like telling a person not to talk. So, like, barking is one thing, but my dogs don't typically growl at other dogs. So, like, he feels pretty good about the fact that he's able to do it by himself now, to the point that when I wake up in the mornings, he already has it done. But not only does he do that, he also makes sure to take care of the ferrets as well. So he's taking care of feeding and cleaning the ferret cage every morning and walking and cleaning up after the dogs. And he's getting that responsibility. Now, me and Mr. Coffee have been having a lot of talks this weekend about things with the kids and, just the house in general and things we want to do for the summer. So for the summer, typically we like to try to let the kids have the first week or two of summer where we do nothing. We don't go anywhere. We don't do anything. We let them adjust to being home all the time and let them just enjoy being kids. And then we start scheduling activities for us to do, like going to the zoo, going to the Badlands, going to the water park, going to the skate park. We have plans right now of buying bikes. so that we can all take like family bike rides at the end of the day. So like after dinner, after we walk the dogs, everybody would just jump on their bike and we would go for like a bike ride up the street or something with the kids. So we're gonna buy some bikes when I get Twitch rich. We're gonna go buy some bikes and start doing some bicycling after dinner every night, which is going to be great because it gives us time to spend with the kids, and we're all getting out and getting exercise. Not that Maggie needs it, but she unfortunately likes to, ride her bike, so she'll probably just, pedal along with us. But it'll just be a nice thing to do as a family that doesn't cost us any money, and, we can still do stuff with the kids. We talked about also going to the movies and going to see The Little Mermaid and Spider-Man, because Maggie is a big Spider-Man fan. I am Mr. Coffee and I are big Little Mermaid fans. I guess Little Mermaid was the first movie that Mr. Coffee saw in theaters, and apparently, according to him, when he was like 4, he went to go see it with his mom, and he had to be taken out of the theater because he cried because he was scared of Ursula. So like he's excited to see what they did with the new one. I've heard mixed reviews about it. Like the actual movie is great, but there's all these like little things that everybody's nitpicking, and I'm like, I don't mind like the thing, as long as the movie itself is good. I can take the fact that her CGI hair looks like garbage. I can take the fact that Sebastian doesn't sound like himself or whatever, because I've heard that comment not probably more than any other comment is the fact that Sebastian doesn't sound like Sebastian, and I'm like, I can't honestly tell you. I'm pretty sure I'll remember once I see the movie, but I can't honestly tell you what Sebastian sounds like. Now, the funny thing is, Orion's name partially comes from that movie. Sebastian is the crab from Little Mermaid, and so that's where Orion Dominic Sebastian came from. So it was that, and it's the guy from Cruel Intentions. His name was Sebastian, and so I decided that Orion's middle name, one of them, was going to be Sebastian. So yeah, so we have lots of plans and stuff that we want to do with the kids. We're also going to hold some of that stuff back to do it when Mr. Coffee has that week off of work, because during that week while he's off work, his mother will be here, so we're going to take her with us to the zoo, and we're going to go see the red pandas again. I'm super excited. We're going to go to the Badlands. I have been craving going back to the Badlands. Now, if you remember, we go to the Badlands at least 2 or 3 times every year during the summer with the kids. And I'm going to try to vlog it, but it just depends on how I feel. Mostly because I fall asleep a lot of the times during like car rides and stuff. So trying to vlog and do stuff is hard. Plus, I think I've already done it once. But, I can try to do it again. And even when we go to the zoo, the thing is, I gotta get a pop socket for my phone. I had one. I don't know where I put it. I didn't buy one with this new phone. I didn't buy one with the new phone. But I did used to have one. But after I got rid of the other phone, I don't know what happened to it. So, yeah. So we do have some really cool plans of things that we want to do with the kids. There's not a whole lot in North Dakota to do. I even thought about asking Mr. Coffee if he would like to get with one of his friends to see where a good fishing spot is. And maybe we can go fishing, because I know that's something that Maggie enjoyed with the neighbors once. And I want to see if it's something that Orion could do. The problem is you got to be quiet when you fish so you don't scare the fish away. And the way kids are set up, no. Kids are like aluminum foil on a floor. You just loud for no reason. So we do have lots of plans of things that we want to do with the kids, and I'm super excited that my mother-in-law is going to try to come up and visit. She's going to try to take the train here. We bought her a ticket a few years ago, and she ended up having a heart attack right before she was supposed to get here. So she obviously wasn't going to use the ticket. So luckily for us, Amtrak was like, it's fine. You can just, reuse the ticket when you're ready to use it, when you heal, whatever. And surprisingly, she was able to use it 2 years later. And I was like, let's go. So this will be her first time seeing the new house and everything else. So we're super excited for her to show up. If she does show up, I'm not sure, if something is going to pop up or nothing. We're crossing our fingers that she is going to make it this time. Not that she purposely didn't try to make it last time, but, heart attack. So don't worry. His mom is fine. His mom is fine. She was at work and she just said her chest felt tight. She went home, woke up the next morning, wasn't feeling the best, and then like a day or so later, she decided to go get checked out and found out that she had had a heart attack and didn't really realize it. So yeah, but she's doing fine now, and she's super excited to come visit because, of course, she hasn't seen her grandkids in 2 years, and she would like to come visit. Now, my parents were supposed to come up as well. Not sure if that's going to happen because my parents have other like obligations that they have to take care of with my sister. So I'm not sure if my parents are going to make it up this year. Plus, they're trying to. I hate the fact that like they're trying to bring up all of my sister's kids and then stay in my house, and I'm like, you're lucky I'm allowing you to stay in my house, let alone my sister's kids. Not that I have a problem with my nieces and nephews, but there's 4 of them. So that's an extra 6 people I would have to stash in my house. Okay. My house is a decent sized house. It is not massively huge, but we do have 4 bedrooms. And obviously 3 of those bedrooms are already occupied. That 3rd spare bedroom was supposed to be Minna's room for when she gets here. And that's going to be her room for when she comes next year. So, you know, nobody really goes in there. I kind of store my diamond paintings in there. Like, it's like, that's what we call the second craft room. Or what I call the second craft room. Mr. Coffee calls it the spare room. He's like, stop calling that the craft room. I'm like, it's the second craft room. I'm sorry. That's just where all my craft stuff is. So, like, we have, like, another room upstairs. But they you know, want to pile all these people in my house. And I'm not the biggest, like, person on having, like, a bunch of my family in the house like that. So I'm just like, you know, there's plenty of hotels around here. You guys could easily, like, use Dad's discount and get a nice hotel, and you can, like, watch TV because we don't watch TV, and the spare room doesn't have a TV because nobody watches TV in the spare room because nobody really watches TV here. And I know what it's going to be. The boys are going to be in my son's room because he has all the game systems. Luckily, my sister has 3 boys and 1 girl, and she's gonna be like doing something for the summer that we're not gonna talk about. But they wanted to bring like some of the kids up here, and I'm just kind of like, And then my dad assured me, like, you know, it's not gonna be all of them, so it's not gonna be all 4 of them. And I was like, why not? Because, you know, time flies when you're least expected. And just like I had to have the realization that my kids aren't babies, my sister's kids aren't babies anymore either. 2 of them are 18 and older. And I was like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, they're grown. They're out of the house. And I was like, when the hell did that happen? Look, listen, my kids aren't supposed to grow. My sister's kids aren't supposed to grow. Nobody's kids are supposed to grow up, okay? That's just how I had it in my brain. And so when my dad told me that 2 of them are adults and they won't be coming and it would just be the 2 younger ones, I was still like, I don't know. I don't feel like having my mom come here and tell me that I don't clean correctly, or I stream too much, or I'm doing too much, or I'm doing this. I'm like, again, there's nice hotel rooms around here. There's literally one right down the street. You can go right to the restaurant that you like. There's a breakfast restaurant right across the street from the hotel. Like, you don't have to stay at my house. Now, with my mother-in-law, it's just her. So I'm just like, oh, it's just one person. Like, I don't have to worry about too much. And Mr. Coffee's going to be off that entire week. But with my parents, I'm going to be the one in charge of them. So I'm just like, do I really? No, I don't. So we're still debating on that. Other than that, like yesterday, we had a little bit of a scare. So if you're on social media, any social media of mine, you would have seen a picture of Maggie laying across the kitchen, the dining room table chairs. Now, let me explain the picture for you real quick. Let me just set this up for you, okay? So we had just finished playing a game of Uno. And Maggie had been running around in and outside all day. Me and Mr. Coffee streamed over on Twitch. So yeah, Mr. Coffee will be streaming with me randomly on Twitch. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him every week, but he does want to start streaming with me, you know, on a regular basis. It's something else that we can do together, and he knows it means a lot to me when we do things together. So he's just like, you know, I can do art with you, which is hilarious because some of my friends that didn't know that Mr. Coffee does art are super surprised that Mr. Coffee not only does it, but he does it very well. And I'm like, I told you, my husband's an artist. He just doesn't always draw. And it's nice that he's feeling that inspo to draw now. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, we're streaming and Maggie's in and out, and then I was like, you want to play Uno or something? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, bet, go get the cards. So she goes and gets the cards. We play a round of Uno, and she's like, can I get lunch? And I was like, go ahead and get lunch. I get up, and I'm like, okay, what needs to be done? I don't know. I'm going to go sit down. I haven't had a day off in 2 weeks, like a day off where I don't have to do anything. So I've been tired. I've been really tired, and I haven't been sleeping the best. So, I was like, yeah, I don't care what has to be done today. I'm not doing it. And I just went and sat down. Now, when I went to go sit down, I started cross-stitching. Now, I can't cross-stitch, apparently, on a whip and chat. I don't have the right angle. Like, I don't have the right camera angle that I need to be able to do it, which is why you're seeing me diamond paint and not, This is why you're seeing me diamond paint and not cross-stitching, is because I don't have the right camera angle for me to be able to see what I'm doing or you to be able to see what I'm doing. So, unfortunately, where I can probably do it in a live stream, because then I can check to, it's a little bit different. Doing a whip and chat, I have to constantly move it around, and I'm not sure about if you guys can see it that well. Plus, I need to concentrate a little bit more. So, like, while I'm streaming, I can be quiet and they can listen to the music for a few minutes while I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do. Whereas during a whip and chat, I would have to keep pausing, and I hate to pause whenever I'm doing a whip and chat. So I'm just like, we'll revisit that down the line. Now, take it again. I've never really been into cross stitch before, and I don't know why all of a sudden it's like the next best thing to slice bread to me. Rachel will tell you that I've told her before when she's asked me about cross stitching, I find it very boring. I don't like it. It takes forever, and just all the threads that you have to keep up with, and the stitch counts, and the even weave, and all the different types of like stuff. I've just never been interested in it. And even Becky, she does cross stitching, and I never was interested in it. I don't like watching it. I don't like doing it. It wasn't anything I wanted to do until I seen the piece that I'm working on now, and something inside of me is like, you need to work on this and complete it. And so I have been trying to get as much time as I can in. I even listened to an audio book while I worked on it the other day. I listened to 11 hours of, which it took me 2 days to listen to the book, but I was staying up really late to finish it. It's called Locked in Temptation by Brenda Jackson. It's an amazing book, y'all. But just a heads up, I'm into cheesy romance novels. So if that is something that you're interested in, you can look up Brenda Jackson's Locked in Temptation, the Protector series. I have read all of them and loved them all. Or I should say, I've listened to them because it's on Audible and Kindle and stuff. So I like to listen to audiobooks. I'm not a big reader, but if you read it to me, look, I got you. So I've been trying to get as much time as I can in on that, and I'm actually making pretty decent progress on the cross stitch. So like right now I'm finishing up. I just finished up the outline for the flower that I'm working on, and I'm moving to the center of the flower to fill it in. So I'm super excited to get to where I'm at, but I'm just loving it right now. And I've decided, like, as I get older, like most things, people don't realize things change. Okay, things change. Your taste changes, and your likes and dislikes change, which is why, like, for me, someone who does social media, you'll notice that people that watched you before don't watch you anymore, or they just their tastes have changed. And that's okay. It's okay if your tastes have changed and you like watching other people, or you like doing other things, or you like, things that you didn't like before. It's part of, getting older. You get older, you get wiser, you get more mature, and it causes your taste to change. Things you do aren't the same, and everything else. So, like, so your crafts is the same way. You might not be into diamond painting as much as you were, say, 2 years ago. You might be into a different craft. You might be into Cricut crafts. You might be into cross stitching. You might be into latch hooking, which I just bought another latch hook too. I blame Cheryl Wilkins, Jersey Girl Princess. That's your fault. So yeah, like, I don't know what the fascination is with it, but I've been trying to spend as much time as I can doing it because I'm just really enjoying it, and I've decided that I'm just gonna do what makes me happy, because at the end of the day, the only person that I really have to worry about's happiness is my own, and I can't worry about what other people say or think or whatever. Like, After I stopped the live streams here on YouTube, not that the whole world revolves around me, but I thought the world was going to implode because I wasn't doing them, and I've been doing them for so long. And nope, nothing changed. Nobody was upset about it. Like, everybody seems to be like, oh, okay, this isn't bad. Like, and it makes me happy because everybody seems happy with what they're doing now. And I'm just like, I'm super happy with what I'm doing right now. And I hope that this, like, I had my fears, and I was like, I'm hoping that this is the right decision, because right now mentally it feels like the right decision. So I'm just going with it right now. So, anyways, I completely got off topic with the whole Maggie thing. So we played a round of Uno. She asked, could she have something to eat? So I said, yeah. So she went and made herself a sandwich. And then I went to go sit down to cross stitch, because I figured, she'll call me back if she wants to play again. She never called me back, and I didn't hear anything. And Mr. Coffee had went out and did something. Like, he was doing something outside. And he comes back in the house, and he's like, oh, hey, is Maggie outside? I'm like, actually, I don't know. And he's like, what do you mean you don't know? And I'm like, I don't know if she went back outside or not. And he's like, where would she have gone? I'm like, I don't know. So he goes in the kitchen. He goes, her scooter's still outside. And I'm like, well, she must be in the house here. So he goes upstairs. And I don't know what he was looking for her for. I think he was, oh, that's what it was. That's right. He was playing Legos outside with Orion. And he was going to get her in on the Legos because Maggie has been big into Legos all of a sudden. So he was going to see if she wanted to come play with them outside with the Legos. And I was like, well, if y'all are outside, I'll come sit on the porch and cross-stitch while you guys play Legos. And so essentially what he does, Mr. Coffee has these big containers of Legos that he got from his mom from when he was little. And they just sit out there and build things with the Legos. And some of the neighborhood kids will come over and ask, and they play with the Legos. And then next thing you know, I have an entire gaggle of children on my porch playing Legos. Which, I don't mind it. They're nice and they don't bother or try to tear up anything. So I'm like, it is what it is. So I'm like, all right, bet. So he goes upstairs. He goes, Maggie's not in her room. And I'm like, oh, she might have just taken her bike and went down the street. And he goes, but her bike's in the garage. And I was like, oh, well, then she's probably just up the street. So he goes and he's like, all right, well, I guess, I'll go try to go look up the street for her, I guess. So him and Orion go walk up the street, and nope, no Maggie. So he's like, he comes back and he goes, hun, we got a problem. I'm like, what's the problem? He goes, she's missing. And I'm like, what do you mean she's missing? She's not missing. He's like, dude, she's not up the street. I'm like, do you look at the playground? He goes, oh shit, no. So he goes over to the playground. Nope, no Maggie. So he's like, dude, she's not outside. I'm like, she's probably out there somewhere. There's a little patch that they like to go play in. I'm pretty sure she's over there. So then I'm like, let me check upstairs again. So I go check upstairs. She's not upstairs. I check the spare room. She's not in the spare room. She's not in Orion's room. She's not hiding in my room. And I'm like, all right, let's go find Maggie. So we're outside yelling for Maggie. Can't find Maggie. And that's when I start to panic. Okay? A little bit of panic sets in when you can't find your child. Okay? So we're looking all over. Can't find her. She's not responding to us yelling her name. And I come back in the house and I'm like, where the hell could she have gone? She was sitting right here. And right on the chairs was a blanket draped over the chairs, which was draped over the chairs when we left out of the house before. And I was like, she was sitting right here. Where could she have gone? And Mr. Coffee's like, I don't know. I'm starting to get worried. She doesn't typically stay gone this long. I'm like, she wasn't even gone that long. It's been maybe 2 hours. And so he's like, okay, what do we do now? And I'm like, I guess we're going to wait a little bit to see if she comes back. I mean, I don't know what else to do. And as soon as I say that, she turns her head and leaks out a big sigh. And I was like, what the hell was that? And I look over at the chair. It's her in the chair, covered up with the blanket, sleep in the chair. And I'm like, okay, so she's right there. We just looked over the entire neighborhood, freaking out. Orion's almost in tears because for as much as him and Maggie don't get along, they don't like it when one of the others is missing or hurt. And they will cry. And so he's in tears because he can't find his sister. And here she's been sleeping in the chair this entire time. Y'all, I'm not joking. It took us 45 minutes to walk around the complex, yelling and calling for her and asking people if they've seen her. We thought that the neighbor lady had kidnapped her again. By kidnap, I mean like Maggie went to their house and she just didn't want to come out because she knew she was going to get in trouble. But we couldn't find her. And so we were like asking the neighbors, had they seen her? And the neighbor guy across the street here goes, last I seen her, she went in the house and she didn't come back out. And I was like, well, we can't find her in the house. And here, she was in the house, all right. She was sitting right in the goddamn on chair, asleep, just out. So I was like, all right, bet. And she's like, Mommy, I'm so tired. I'm like, well, apparently we were looking for you. And she's like, but I'm right here. Well, we know that now. Thank you. So that was our little scare with Maggie yesterday. Super fun. But I did get to stream with Mr. Coffee yesterday, and then he went off after that to go play Dungeons and Dragons with his friends. On Saturday, I got to stream with my friend Buck. I always love streaming with my friend Buck. He's a riot. So I got to stream with him for a little bit and do some doodles. And then we started getting onto the topic of me opening a shop. Now, when I first started doing art, I never intended for it to go anywhere, really. I just wanted to be able to do it. It's always been a dream of mine to be able to sit down and draw something that I like. And where I don't think my art is anywhere near as good as I want it to be, it's getting there. It's getting there. Art is getting a little bit easier. It's easier for me to do like certain things. And I'm happy with the progress that I've made with my art over the last few years. And for those folks who have been supportive and sending words of encouragement and everything else, I can't tell you how much that means to me. So thank you for that. We were talking the other day over on Twitch about me possibly starting a shop where I sell prints and stickers and merch. And I was like, maybe. And then I was like, I need to talk to a few people because I know a few of my friends that have like a Society 6 page and a Redbubble and Streamlabs store. I don't use Streamlabs, but I hear their store is amazing. And my friend, Commander Shefford, he's a game streamer over on Twitch. He has one, and I've ordered from it, and it has really good quality clothes. They are true to size. And I wanted to ask my friends before I just open up a shop, you know, what do you think of, you know, Redbubble, Society 6? What do you think of these print to order shops? Because I want to go print to order just because it's more convenient for me to do this way versus me doing it out of my house, because me doing it out of the house is adding more to my plate. I already got rid of some of the things that I was doing, like Cincy and one of the YouTube live. I already got rid of that because I'm trying to lessen my workload so that I have more time with my family, because for a while there I was spending so much time on social media, whether it be answering questions for Cincy or my live streams or making videos or streaming on Twitch. For my partner push, I was so neglectful of my family during my partner push because I was pushing for partner, and that's all the thing. I was so focused on it that I, didn't focus as much on the family. So, after the partner push was over and I made partner on Twitch, which just means I'm a verified streamer. Essentially, as Buck says, it's like I'm a full-time streamer. That's essentially what it is. It just means that I'm a full-time streamer, and I've met the criteria to be considered a full-time streamer on Twitch. And so after that, I had a hard time getting rid of the schedule, because whenever I would try, somebody would complain about, oh, you're taking a day away, or oh, you're doing this. So then I came up with my summer schedule, which is the schedule we have currently now, which if you're on Patreon or if you're a channel member, you would see the schedule already. And the schedule is a schedule that I can not only just keep in the summer, this might be my permanent schedule unless something changes. Because I was thinking about it when I was taking a shower this morning. I was like, let's see. I stream Sundays. I have off Monday and Tuesday, which is nice because I can get videos done like at the beginning of the week and then have the rest of the week to do streaming and not have to worry about anything else. Wednesday evening, I stream again, which still gives me all Wednesday during the day to, Wednesday I stream in the morning. So even if I was, like, when the kids go back to school, instead of me starting at 11, I can go back up to starting at, like, 9 and ending at, like, noon. So I can adjust the time, but Wednesdays is in the morning. And then, sorry, I'm making sure I'm not putting that on the number 5. Wednesdays could stay in the morning. Thursday and Fridays are evening streams. And then Saturday is a midday stream. So essentially I do stream 5 days in a row, but I have 2 days in a row off. And I really like that schedule. And there's no reason why I should have to diverge from that schedule too much, except for if I decide, like, when the kids go back to school, I'm going to push the time up. So I'm going live like earlier in the morning. But this could be my permanent schedule because it works out where I can spend time with my family still. I'm not spending my entire day online. and I can get stuff done that I need to get done, like in my IRL life. So it's made it super convenient for me to like make the schedule and everything, and the family seems happy with it, because I can even like still get off stream early enough to have dinner with the family. And that was Mr. Coffee's big thing that he wasn't the fondest of, is the fact that when I was doing my partner push over on Twitch, was that I wasn't having dinner with the family. And it's weird how you get caught up in things that you're trying to like focus on and to do. And so for him, he didn't like the fact that I wasn't able to eat dinner with the family, because I was doing so many 12-hour live streams and, you know, streaming all day and streaming for this long and all this. So he was just like, you know, I'm glad that you changed the schedule up. And I'm like, yeah. And now it's to the point where people are starting to ask, where can they buy prints? And I'm like, I don't sell prints. Why would you want a print of this? It's not like, and as somebody said yesterday, comparison is the stealer of joy. I don't like to compare myself or what I do to others, because what I do is completely different than what others do. Where we might be doing the same craft, we do it differently. So like, I don't like comparing my art to another artist, because one, I'm still new at it, and everybody's, you know, everybody's on a different path. Everybody's on their own timeline. And I've only been doing it for 3 years, where say someone like my friend Buck has been doing it for 13 years. So of course he's going to have more experience with it and be better at it, because he's had more time with it. But for me, I'm like, I don't feel like my artwork is prim and polished like you would normally see for like a print or something. And so I never really thought about it being a print until this weekend, when people kept asking, and they still are asking, about this one particular image that I did on Saturday. They're asking if I can make it a print. And I'm like, I guess. And we are diamond painters. Like, okay, we are painters. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. So we like stickers. And so, of course, everybody's like, we could do stickers. We could do beanies. We could do this. We could do that. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm the one that's got to do all this. So let me look into it. So I looked into it this week, and it looks like it's something that I can do. I just had to go over my contracts that I have out right now with certain companies to make sure that the ones that are using my artwork, I'm not infringing on my contract of using any of those images. And from the looks of it, I'm not. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, this might be something that's happening. If it is, it'll be happening by the end of the month. Because literally all I have to do is put the images on the website, and then boom, that's it. Like, I don't have to do anything else. I just have to do like upkeep and like keep putting up images and stuff like that. So that might be something that's happening, because I'm getting asked, and I am honored at the fact that people would even want what I do as art as something hanging in their house or whatever. It's not something I've ever thought about. I just wanted to do stuff for diamond painting. My art, essentially, I wanted to use it to give back to the community here on Twitch or on YouTube for all the support that you guys have given me. And the reason there is such a big number next to my name, because you guys are what made me. So, you know, why wouldn't I want to give back to my community? And that's really the only plans I had with my art until now. So when people are like asking me for prints, and, you know, asking me to make this into a diamond painting and that into a diamond painting, where I don't have any control over what companies decide to do, like, diamond painting wise. Like, I've contacted a couple of companies and asked, like, how to submit artwork for their company and whatnot. I don't have any control over what is and what isn't made into a diamond painting. But I can control what I do carry in a shop. Like, if you get like a tote bag or a makeup bag or a diamond painting, you know, supplies bag or a travel bag, I can control that. So I was talking with Mr. Coffee about it, and he's all for it. He's like, you know, I know you're nervous about it. He goes, but you're never gonna know if it's gonna work if you don't try it. And I know your people would love to have some of your stuff as art. And so I was like, all right, we're gonna try it. So we're gonna possibly try it. Like I said, if I do it, it's gonna be by the end of the month. It'll be before Pride Month is over, because I do have a lot of Pride images that I could see as like not so much a print, but like stickers. So I'm like, maybe that. So yeah, like I'm nervous and excited, if you can't tell. Like I'm nervous and excited. But I'm hoping to make this a productive week. It is only Monday, and the kids, like, even today, it's cooler outside. There's a nice breeze going. And so, like, any activities in the pool are not happening, because just by that one day, it was like 80 degrees the day that we did slip and slide stuff, and Maggie's already, like, coughing a little bit. So I was like, we're gonna hold off on pool things. So maybe, like, we can see about going on a family walk later after dinner until we get the bikes, because we have to buy everybody a new bike, and bikes are fucking expensive. So I'm like, ugh. So I'm hoping that we could possibly go for like a walk later. I have meals sort of kind of planned out for the week that Maggie can help with. She's been still doing really good. She's actually, like, I'm starting to see her mature and everything. And like I said, we talked a lot yesterday about like what we wanted to do with the kids this summer and everything else. And it's hard on Mr. Coffee because he has to work, and then on his days off where he wants to relax, we want to do family things. So we have to make the compromise that some of these weeks where, Mr. Coffee doesn't have like anything to do on the weekends, that we can't monopolize his entire weekend. Like, we have to let him rest too. We have to be like thoughtful of the fact that he's working, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes more. And there are days where he's just going to want to relax. He's not going to want to spend his entire day off outside, like walking around in the heat, looking at animals or the nature and stuff. So like, we're trying to be cognizant of that as well. But we're doing good, and we had talked about like, what does it mean for Orion for next year for school? Because the kids, essentially, like I said before, I won't have to travel to 2 schools, because the schools that the kids will be going to will literally be right next door to each other. So I only have to go from one place to the other. So like, I can park on the side of the street, the side of the school where Maggie's going to go, and Orion can cross the street to the car, and Maggie can get in the car from the side of the road where, her school is. So it's going to make for an interesting year, because even in the mornings, I can drop them both off at the exact same time, and Mr. Coffee doesn't have to anymore. And so, like, it's weird how things are changing. And we talked about getting Orion a cell phone when he became more responsible, and he's been showing us he has gotten a lot more responsible. He's going to bed at a good time. He's making sure to brush his teeth and wash his face and get his showers, and let us know when he needs, like, like toiletries and stuff. And he's been walking and taking care of the pets, and he's been helping Maggie with things. He's really showing us that he can be responsible, and that he's ready for the responsibility of actually having a phone. Now, the thing is we were debating on whether we wanted to get him like a prepaid phone, or we want to put him on our plan. If we put him on our plan, we don't have to worry about being broke one week and not being able to get him minutes, or having to worry about his minutes running out. If we put him on a prepaid phone, essentially we just have to worry about making sure that it stays refilled like every, whatever couple of months. And I'm like, well, we just saved $100 on taking some of the insurance off of our phones, because we rarely ever use the insurance on the phones, but they had us doubled down with insurance on all phones. So we took the second layer of protection of this insurance off, and we talked about it last night. And so we've made the decision that whereas Maggie's not ready for a phone yet. She's not ready for social media or anything like that. The most we let Maggie do is like YouTube shorts, because they're not, whatever. Like, Maggie, I can tell she is starting to mature. She's not getting to the point where I feel safe letting her alone with the internet. No. So she's happy with what she has. And so we decided that we're going to go ahead, and I'm not sure when we're going to do it. We should probably do it soon. We're going to go ahead and get Orion a phone with a plan on it. And then we're going to add him to our phone line, and then make sure he has like all the numbers that he needs, because then if there's ever a problem with him walking the dogs or anything of the sort, he'll have his cell phone so he can contact us, to let us know what's going on or whatever. And like security ways. And like, Orion is 12, and each kid is different on whether or not, like, what age you should give them a cell phone. Like, I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 16. Question of the video: what age were you when you got your first cell phone? I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 16, and my parents were like, I'm not buying it for you. If you want it, then you need to get a job and get it. And I did. And I remember the phone, it had a green screen. I was so proud of myself. It was a green phone, and I thought I was the shit with that phone. And so this will be Orion's first phone. Well, technically his second. And it's killing me though, because he's got to get an iPhone. Not that he has to, but he's used to iDevices. He has an iPad. He doesn't have a MacBook. He has a PC, but he is already used to the interface of Apple. And so we decided we're going to keep him with the interface of Apple because he just knows it so well. And rather than me having to teach him how to use an Android, which isn't difficult, it's just first world problems. We're just going to go get him an iPhone. It doesn't have to be the latest, greatest. He's not going to get an Apple Watch or anything fancy like that. He's just going to get a regular ass phone so that he can make calls and text. And he'll be on our plan. And we decided, you know, where I would love to be able to, usually when we do that for one kid, we'll do it for both. But like I said, Maggie's just not there mentally yet for a cell phone with, you know, being able to call people when she wants to and everything else. Whereas Orion is really showing us responsibility. He's only spent a total of, last week, he spent a total of 8 hours all week on his computer. The rest of the time has been reading or outside or just doing stuff with the family. And I'm super proud of the fact that he isn't spending his entire summer just locked away in his room, that he's actually getting out and doing things. So it's time for him to get this cell phone, and I'm pretty excited to get it for him. So I hope he enjoys it. But yeah, so that's how we're doing here at the coffee house. Also went to go wind the hose up, and I forgot the spigot in the house, and the ferrets were out. And of course, you know, as soon as I said ferrets, you know exactly where this is going. They stole the spigot, and in the process of going to find the spigot, I found 2 vape rigs that I had lost, because I use disposable vape rigs. So I use them until they are empty, and then I just kind of toss them. I know it's wasteful. Don't come at me. And so I had lost 2 of them, and they have lanyards on them, but somehow the ferrets had gotten a hold of them and pushed and stashed them under the couch. And I'm like, you little shits. So I was able to find those. I found one of the key cards for the door. I did not find my 2 right feet for my sandals. So luckily enough, I do have like my slides that I can wear for the summer until I am able to find the other stuff. But we had to buy another spigot because I didn't have time to sit there and continuously look for it. And I kept finding other things, and like my ADHD was acting up, and then I kept having to figure out other things. I kept finding other things to do, and I was like, oh, forget it, I'll just buy a new one. And then this morning, as I cleaned up the living room, I found the first one. So I was like, well, if nothing else, we have a spare. So yeah, everybody's doing fine. The ferrets are doing good. They're getting big. Big as in Ryan's feeding them a little too much, so I gotta, you know, hone him in on that. But the ferrets are doing good. The dogs are doing good. Maggie actually is doing better at feeding the dogs than Orion ever did. She let us know that the container was half empty. She has been making sure they have food. Their food is filled 3 times a day, instead of her just walking past it and going, look, they took a bite of food, I gotta go refill it. She was doing that for like a week. So she's doing well. Mr. Coffee's working a lot, but he is, you know, making time for the family, of course. And like, we're able to do things together and sit down and have conversations. And we will reschedule our date. You know, it sucks, but we'll reschedule it. It's not a big deal. And I'm doing good. For the first time in a while, I'm mentally in a good place, and I feel good about what I'm currently doing. So yeah, that's all you can really ask for in life. So yeah, so that's how the coffee house is doing, and I am going to leave it there. So I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this. Thank you so much for coming back and visiting us here at the coffee house. We hope that you come back and see us again next week. So with that said, I must now bid you adieu. But not for reminding you to stay safe out here in these crafty streets, y'all. Always remember to be kind to others, because you never know what somebody else is going through. Be courteous, because it's the right thing to do. And always stay cool. And whether I see you in YouTube land or I see you in Twitch land, either way, I'll see you when I see you. Bye, guys.